In this video, we're going to look at the process of neutralisation, we'll look at the equations behind it, and we'll go through a very short experiment looking at how neutralisation can be experimentally
A neutralisation reaction is a reaction between an acid and a base. So that's a reaction between something that has a hydrogen ion and something that has a hydroxide ion. When they go and they react together, the hydroxide ion binds with the hydrogen ion to form water. Another example of neutralisation reaction is where we have some sort of metal hydroxide and we react that with an acid, and that forms a metal salt plus water. So, a salt and water are produced when acids react with metal hydroxides. Metal hydroxides are bases because they neutralise acids. If we go and look at this example, if we react sodium hydroxide with hydrochloric acid, we are going to make sodium chloride plus water. Pause the video and have a go at constructing neutralisation reactions for the following three metal hydroxides with hydrochloric acid below. So, getting on to the actual practical. First thing that you would need to do is to go and measure out a set amount of hydrochloric acid. So in the first instance, we might use 10 millilitres. You're measuring that with a measuring cylinder and you're pouring it into a flask. You then need to go and add an indicator to it. So an easy indicator to use would be phenolphthalein. And then very carefully, using a different measuring cylinder, you need to measure out the amount of sodium hydroxide it takes to neutralise that acid. The point at when it's neutralised will be the point when the indicator changes colour. At that point, you can go and record how much sodium hydroxide that's taken. You can then repeat the experiment using different volumes of hydrochloric acid. So the examples that I would use, I would go up in tens. So we would have a range between 10 millilitres and 50 millilitres of hydrochloric acid. After you've run through the experiments once, repeat it another 2 times so that you ensure that your results are reproducible and you can go and get enough data to take a mean. The following video doesn't show this exact experiment, but it does show how a neutralisation reaction can be done within a lab.
So, when carrying out a simple neutralisation reaction with students, first thing to do, 2 small beakers. The easiest way to do it, if you're just looking at it very simplistically, is to get them to go a small amount of alkali, so a small amount of sodium hydroxide goes into your first beaker, then put some phenolphthalein in, give it a swirl round, then into the second beaker, put roughly the same amount of hydrochloric acid. Then get students, if they're doing it in pairs, get one of them to swirl it while the other one goes and pipettes it in. Make sure that you stress students that they need to try and be swirling it, as this causes it to mix better. And the colour change that they're looking for is try and get the point at which it goes from being pink to being colourless, because that will be the point when all the alkali has been neutralised by the acid. Keep referring back to the equations, so you can keep referring back to the fact that you are making water and sodium chloride. Keep going and talking about what pH neutral is, so it keeps them focused on all the key points. And there, right, so it's gone and we've neutralised it. At that point, once it's neutralised, you can go and get and discuss with students how they think they could go and test to see whether you've actually just made salt and water. So that finishes off what we need to know about neutralisation. If you have any further questions, please leave them in the comments below, and good luck.